What's up, YouTube? Thanks for tuning in to our latest video from JT Tactical. I'm JT, and today we're going over my IFAK, or Individual First Aid Kit. You saw this in our last video that I did on my chest rig. This is what I carry for my personal use, for fixing up buddies that get hurt. This is what I carry for if I get hurt, to have other people fix me up. All that good stuff. So let's dive into this kit, see what's in there, talk about it a little bit. First thing I want you to notice, bright red cross on the front. It is impossible to miss the fact that this is a med kit. Anybody coming up to me when I'm laying on the ground, looks down, right there in the front, big red cross. They know this is where my med stuff is. And hopefully what I have in here is enough for them to take care of me. Also, this side, I have a patch with my blood type on it. Very important you know your blood type. Very important that you mark on yourself or on your gear what your blood type is. If you are hurt, people may need to know that, and if you can't give them that information, you're SOL. Alright, so as I showed you in the last video, that's a rip away pouch. So I'm going to get rid of this chest rig. We're going to dive into this pouch here. So this specific type is one that lays flat when you unzip it. So here's everything I have in here. We're going to kind of go through it, starting at this far end over here and working our way across. This specific kit I like because it has this small zippered pouch here, and I can put all my small stuff here, like medical tape. I have a roll of thread and some needles. You never know when your uniform is going to get ripped or you need to sew a patch back on, so I like to have that. I threw it in here because I didn't have a better place to put it, to be quite honest. Lighter, as I've said before, I like the bright colors, so it's harder for me to lose them. 2 rolls of duct tape. This is just rolled up duct tape. This one's a little squished, but there's several yards of duct tape there. I don't remember exactly how much between the 2 rolls, but enough that if you really needed to, you could make a chest seal out of that. You could duct tape on some gauze if you're out of medical tape. There's literally endless possibilities of what you could use that duct tape for. I have a small bottle of super glue, which is great for small cuts, even deeper cuts if they're not too large, things like that. What I have left in here is more of like a boo-boo kit. So I have some triple antibiotic cream, I have some tweezers, a bunch of large band-aids, and just a few medium-sized band-aids. I don't carry many medium-sized because chances are if a cut is this small, I'm not going to have time to deal with it, and I don't really need to. If it's any smaller than this, I don't carry small band-aids because that stuff I'm not worried about. I'm not even going to doctor it up at that point. It's too small to worry about. I don't have the time. Okay, moving along into this section right here of the kit. Excuse me. There's a pocket in the back, and then on the front there is loops that are made of elastic. So in the pocket I have a sterile triangular bandage with the pins in it as well. That's important. I've seen a lot of people that carry the triangular bandage with no way to pin it up, no way to hold it together. Make sure you got those pins in there. I have a large roll of gauze. I believe this is 3-inch wide gauze. It's about 4 yards of it here, a little bit more than that. Then I have an Israeli dressing. This is a compression dressing. That's all I'm going to say about that. Look it up though. Those Israeli dressings are awesome. Quick clot. Another thing to look up if you don't know what it is. This is made, it's gauze, and it's made to cause clotting inside a wound so that it'll stop the bleed quicker. Great things to have. Right here, in the bottom of this section, I have another lighter. This one's red. Once again, a brighter color, harder to lose in the woods. Here I have 5 tampons. They're smaller, but they're still great for closing up a wound, a nosebleed, anything like that. You can stick that in there to help soak up blood until you can slap some gauze on it, or what have you. And then here I have 6 pairs of gloves. They are not latex because some people are allergic to latex, so I don't carry latex. I personally don't have that allergy, but because of the nature of this kit, I never know if I'll be using it to work on somebody else. And the worst thing I could do for someone is go up with a latex glove on and stick a finger in a wound and then be allergic to latex. That would make a bad day even worse. So, no latex. Okay, over here, this just fell out of the top here. I have about 100 strips of gauze. They vary in size from 1-inch square to 4-inch square. So there's lots of different types of gauze here. And then right here in the middle, once again, is a roll of gauze. This one is 3 inches by about 4 yards. So same as this, just packaged differently. Obviously this is better because it's so much smaller, it's much more compressed. Right here I have eye drops. I have very dry eyes, so I carry this specifically for myself because these are basically artificial tears. Just if my eyes dry out, that makes it hard to do anything if you can't see very well because of dry eyes. So some things you carry in your kit are going to need to be specifically for you, tailored to your needs. If you have asthma, carry an inhaler. If you have a specific bad allergy to something, carry an EpiPen. The things that will help you get your job done, whatever your job may be at the time. Alright, right here I have 2 individually packaged sterile scalpels. And then up here I have all my writing utensils. I carry 4 Sharpies, black, red, yellow, and green. These are mostly for triage. The black is also my main instrument for writing on the tourniquets what time they are applied. But these are the triage colors. If you don't know what triage is, I really recommend taking a class that covers that along with lots of other things. It's good information to have, even if you're not the main medic in the group that you're working with. Having the ability, having the knowledge on how to triage people who are wounded can really help out whoever is providing the main medical attention. And then behind that I have 1 pen, 1 pencil, and back here in this pocket I have a notebook. This is super important. I use this for all kinds of stuff, not just medical. On my chest rig, if you watched that video, you saw in my admin pouch I do carry note cards. Those are more for writing notes to myself. They're more for writing notes for other people, handing them a card that has, a latitude and longitude, handing them a card that has whatever. This notebook is for my records. Anytime I use anything in this kit, anytime I use a tourniquet, anytime I have contact with an enemy, anytime I break contact, all of that after the fact gets written down in this book, so I have it if law enforcement needs it, if medical professionals need that information. If, for instance, I stop at a car accident, somebody has taken an airbag to the chest and I feel like they have a broken rib, I'm going to write down what time I make contact with that person. I'm going to write down exactly what they told me about their injuries, and I'm going to write down their rib may be broken. I'm not a medical professional. That's what I assessed. That may help the medical professionals when they get there. I'm just anal about writing down everything. Right next to where that notebook was, I have a bandana, all folded up nice and neat. These are great for all kinds of things. It can be if I need a second triangular bandage, this will do. If I need to make a splint, I can use this. If it's really hot out, I can soak this in water and wrap it around my neck or wrap it around my head. All those kinds of things, this is great for. So I always carry at least one bandana with me. It's more for not as much medical purposes as just having it on hand. Even collecting water, filtering water to get clean drinking water. If I'm pulling it out of a mud puddle, I always carry purification tablets. But I can pour the water through this, and any clumps of dirt, any chunks of mud will get caught in the bandana instead of going into my bottle, making it even easier for the purification tablets to do their job, which means I get even cleaner drinking water. So things like that. Behind that, I have a pair of medical shears. These are for removing clothing that cover areas that have been wounded that you need to work on or to assess the damage. And behind that is one more pocket, and I have a small fixed blade knife back here. This is great for ripping open the packages of any of this stuff. It's great for, if I really need to, I could use this to cut somebody's clothes if the shears fail for some reason. All that type of stuff. I just really like having extra knives. I'm always willing to carry an extra blade on me, just in case, because A, I'm obsessed with knives, and B, you can use them for so many different things. I feel it's great to have multiple on you at any given time. The last two things I have in here are an emergency blanket. This is wonderful if somebody is starting to go into shock or anything like that. That's usually when I would pull this out. But even if it's just cold outside, having this around a person who's wounded can do a lot for their morale. Even if they're not actually going into shock, it could prevent them from getting to that stage. And then the last thing is wet wipes. This is for cleanup afterwards. This is not for sterilizing a wound. This is not for sterilizing any of my equipment or anything that I'm going to use on a person. That's just for cleanup afterwards. If there's blood on my hands, hopefully there's not because I have gloves, but that can wipe it off. Even if the person has their own blood smeared down their arm, I can wipe it off. Once I get the wound patched up, I can wipe it off with that, hopefully get most of it off, because if they're walking around, even if their wound up here is, it's got gauze on it, it's got quick clot in there, whatever, and it's all wrapped up, if they've still got where blood dripped down their arm, they've got it all smeared, that can really mess with somebody's mind. If they're constantly looking at their own blood all over their arm, who knows, that could even lead to shock if they get that bad, and that is something we want to avoid at all costs. Well, that is all that I carry in my med kit. I'm sure this won't be the last video I do on first aid kits, because mine is constantly changing, constantly rearranging, constantly adding to it. This is probably the 4th or 5th edition of this kit. Like my original kit did not have the quick clot or the Israeli dressing. I hadn't come across those yet. I didn't know how to use them, so they weren't in here. But I learned about them, I read about them, took a class on how to use them, bought some, put them in here. And I intend to keep doing that. I want to build as much as possible on my knowledge as well as what I carry, so that hopefully whatever the situation is, If somebody needs my help, I'm able to give that to them. And no matter what the situation is, if I need help, I have whatever is necessary to take care of me. Even if I personally can't fix myself up, hopefully somebody else can using what I carry. Well, thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you learned something. Hope you got some ideas. This is definitely not a standard. Everybody needs to carry all of these exact things. This is what works for me. So take some ideas from this. Take ideas from other videos, from other people. Figure out what works for you and put your kit together. Even if it's literally just Band-Aids, some medical tape, and gloves. Maybe some gauze. That's a start. That's a great start. But keep building. Learn more and keep building your kit. Thanks for tuning into this video, and catch us next time on JT Tactical.